Billy has always had problems with Roblox. He couldn't even afford paying rent for his own room. It was a regular working day. He was sitting at the cash register, just as always, selling burgers. The guy had no slightest idea where he could get this 50 Robux to pay for the room. He asked his co-workers to lend him some money. But they were broke themselves. "Where do you think you're going?" "Stop right there. You will tell me where the hell you were during the night." A terrified woman was running away from her jealous boyfriend. There was a whole crowd of people in McDonald's, so she decided to go there. He wouldn't beat her up in front of everyone. She handed the money to the cashier with her trembling hands. "Is everything alright? Did someone hurt you?" "Please help. I'm ready to give you this 100 Robux. You see this guy outside? He's stalking me." Billy carefully looked at the offender. It was very unlikely he could be this huge guy, but he desperately needed the money. And "Hey dude, are you looking for trouble? Why did you hurt this woman?" "What did you say? Get over here." "We will not do it here. Let's figure it out behind the corner." They went behind the McDonald's to the fenced yard. This huge jock was getting ready to beat up the scrawny guy, but Billy quickly ran out, shut the door, and called Archie. The dog really hated it, and strangers walked on his territory. Archie jumped at the guy and started biting his hand. The woman was satisfied. She paid for the favor and wrote the number of his savior down, just in case. "Thank you so much. I will tell my friends how heroic you are." Billy was happy as well. He would never earn such easy money. The room's owner came in the evening, annoyed. He got so surprised when he saw Billy sitting at the table and eating these treats. "Here's your 50 Robux that I owe for the rent." "Did you rob the bank or something?" "Nah, I earned them using my head." After that, the landlord left, puzzled. Billy ate until he was full and went to sleep. In his dream, he saw his childhood, remembered how he didn't like ballroom dancing, or playing the piano, or drawing. His mother really wanted to make a goody two-shoes out of him, while he dreamt of being a sniper, fighting with knives, or detonating bombs. While his parents didn't see, he was watching the movies about contract killers and tried to remember what they did. Billy woke up and started doing crunches like his favorite killer Leon, just as usually. He drank some milk.
He needs some milk!
And headed to work. Billy was standing at the cash register when this huge guy entered McDonald's together with a police officer. "This is him who stitched the dog on me." "But sir, it wasn't my fault. He beat his own girlfriend up and wanted to get his hands on me too. I just ran away." Rupert looked at Billy suspiciously, wrote something down in his notebook, and walked the victim away. Before the poor guy even got his bearings, that girl from yesterday walked in with some other guy. "Hey, this is my friend Foodie. He really needs your help."
"Sup, bro? I'm really down with my neighbors. They smoke in the stairwell all the time, laugh loudly, and listen to their dumb music at night. I reported this case to the police, but these guys beat me up.
I'm ready to resolve this issue for 250 Robux. The client agreed, and Billy went to his mission after he finished the work. He went to the black market and bought a police uniform, a toy gun, and a truncheon. These punks were listening to their music as always and didn't hear that a policeman was knocking on the door. Billy attempted to kick the door down, but he was too slender for that. So he decided to cut the power in their apartment. And only then they opened the door. Face down on the floor, hands on your head.
Huh? Did this guy snitch on us again?
Wrong. Roblox Police General moved to this house, and he asked me to placate everyone who lives in this building.
Oh, clear off, cop. No, please stop. That's enough. We won't do that anymore. Please forgive us.
Billy searched the apartment. He found a gun in one of the tables. It was a very useful thing for his new occupation. The job was done. And his happy client gave him 250 Robux. This money would be enough for the whole month. Billy quit his job, hoping to get even more such work. But the time was passing and nobody contacted him. He realized that he didn't really have that much clients. The room's landlord came by the end of the month with a jagged eye. I'm very sorry, but I cannot pay you right now.
Get out of my place.
I can punish the offender. Who did this to you? Akmal told him that a black jeep cut him off while he was going to work in the morning. He didn't like this, and he decided to do the same thing to him. They started a rumble, but there were two of them, and it all ended with beatings.
I was humiliated. The offender must die.
But this is way too violent.
If you do this, you can have the room forever.
Billy never had his own housing and therefore agreed to execute his first contract murder, just to have the roof over his head. But there was a big problem. How could he find this bully by a car license? Billy went to the black market again. This was the place one could find anything he wanted, but luckily he didn't even have to look for it, as this black jeep was parked right at the entrance of the black market. Inside, he saw his ex-classmate talking to the dealers about something. For some reason, dealers gave him the money. Then he headed to the parking, and he got in that black jeep. Can it be that his target is Dilly, his childhood friend? Billy got nervous, but then quickly made a decision. Wait!
Whoa, Billy! My childhood friend! What on earth brings you here, bro?
The two old friends sat at the nearest cafe. Billy told Dilly about his new mission. Dilly thanked his friend for letting him stay alive. He called someone, and about half an hour later, Akmal was brought to the police.
Hey, didn't you know that I'm a local authority? I own the black market. I'm very sorry. I really thought you're just another corner boy.
Akmal signed the documents, and from then on, his room belonged to Billy. Dilly accepted his friend to the gang, and an ex-McDonald's cashier turned into a debt collector. He was visiting the debt holders, and in case they refused to pay, Billy ordered his thugs to use their bats. Starting from there, Billy was paid 1,000 Robux every month. It was more than enough for a comfortable life. But once, something very bad happened. Hello?
Dilly's in the hospital. He's waiting for you.
Turned out that someone wanted to eliminate Billy. He was about to leave the house in the morning, just as always. A hitman ran from behind the corner and started shooting. Slaw began to fire back, and this guy was deadly wounded. Before dying, he told the name of the shoot caller. It was Hattab, Billy's mortal enemy.
My friend, you have to take revenge on Hattab. Take his life.
Billy was preparing for the mission responsibly. He was closely examining Hattab's routes, remembering places he visited the most, and then analyzing the information that he gathered. He dedicated very close to the target, learning all of these habits. Billy carefully cleaned up his gun to its perfect condition, put a silencer on, and settled the date. The construction site near the shopping mall looked like a perfect place for the implementation of his plan. Hattab visited this place every day at a certain hour with one certain guard.
You two, clean up the mess, quickly, boss is here. Yes, sir.
I will do it right now. Hattab went up to the roof. It was the place where he wanted to build up an open-air restaurant. Killer threw the bucket aside to distract the guard.
Go and check who is making that noise.
As soon as the bodyguard moved away from the boss, Billy came out of hiding and emptied the whole clip into his target. Hattab slowly backed up and fell off the roof. Billy quickly went down using the rope he prepared before and headed to the exit satisfied.
Hands up in the air. There he is surrounded. Resistance is futile.
It was an ambush, and he was caught right at the crime scene. The police must have known everything, which meant that he was framed by someone. Considering the proofs that we gathered, Billy is to be sentenced for a lifetime imprisonment. He will serve his sentence in a secret roblox prison. He felt really ashamed before his mother. He didn't even look at her when he was leaving the court building. While he was in the corridor, the guard ordered him to stop. Some doctor showed up. Billy realized something was wrong. He was about to ask something, but his eyes went black from an injection. Some strange figures appeared from nowhere wearing uniforms with no identification marks. They brought the guy to the helicopter that was waiting on the roof and flew in an unknown direction. Attention! All prisoners must leave their cells and move to the section B. When Billy came to conscious, his head was hurting badly. He slowly got up from his bed and followed all other prisoners. This section turned out to be a walking yard. Convicts were massing around in separate groups. Billy approached some depressed guy who was sitting aside from everyone. Hey, where are we exactly? Nobody knows where we are. Billy was confused. It was a walking ground, but the sky was not visible. Could they be somewhere under the ground? Blondie's crowd ganged up on him.
Hey, plebe, you will wash my socks.
Billy didn't know how to react, but at that moment, some guy known as Afghan stuck up for him. He told Blondie's man that they shouldn't bully the one who are weaker than they are, otherwise they would have to deal with him. The crowd laughed, as they knew that this man was too dangerous. Billy really liked his new acquaintance. They were spending a whole lot of time together. And obviously got closer. I want to get out of this place. Haha! No one has ever escaped from this place. This is not possible. There is a watering hole in the shower. If we find something solid, we will be able to unscrew the grid. I will sneak inside and find out the location of this place.
Guys, I accidentally heard your conversation. I can be of help.
Closer to the evening, when everyone left to their cells, Iron quietly called on the guard.
Hey son, wanna play cards with an old man? On any wish?
Haha, except for imprisoning, of course. Cut the cards. An experienced gambler quickly won the guard, and on the next day, Billy already had a coin. Finally, it was the shower day. I've gone through a piece of soap at Blondie. Underhandedly, the guy tried to find the attacker. It all led to a fight. In that utter confusion, Billy unscrewed the balls, lifted the cover, and sneaked inside. He hastily crawled through the sewage, and soon enough saw a ladder. Billy used it to climb up. When he opened the hatch, he was simply shocked. This prison was located on a massive ship. In the middle of the ocean, he realized he needed to go back. As soon as he put the cover back to its place, the guards broke into the room. And the prisoners were put in punishment cells. The chief of security found the unscrewed bolts, and it was obvious that someone tried to escape. He reported the case to the prison governor. The guy was very unhappy with the news.
You, out!
Billy was escorted through the dark corridor. Finally, they approached an armored door, and he realized that it would be a tough time for him.
You have just came here, but you managed to get into a fight already.
But it was them who started it.
Someone wanted to escape my prison during the fight, and I want you to find that person. Or you will rot in a punishment cell.
Billy agreed to be a snitch. The prisoners were sent back to their prison wards after a week in dark cells. When Billy met his accomplices, he told them everything he learned, that they were on a huge ship amidst the ocean. During their conversation, Billy saw how Blondie was showing off his new shank in front of other prisoners and then hiding it under his pillow. A perfect escape plan came to his mind. I urgently need to see the governor. Billy told him that it was Blondie who tried to escape during that fight and that he unscrewed the bolts with his shank, which he hid under the pillow. Good job! I will be able to get even more information if you let me to work in the kitchen. The governor obviously agreed to help his new snitch. For several days, Billy has been washing the kitchen's floor and peeling the potatoes. There in the kitchen, he saw a waste dump hatch, which had several knives for garbage grinding. If he could somehow break these knives, one could quickly escape using that path. Great plan! During the lunchtime, Afghan put a huge cockroach in his porridge.
I have an insect in my plate. It is disrespectful to the detainees.
All the prisoners turned their heads to him. Meanwhile, Iron unnoticeably threw several bugs into the plates of distracted prisoners. The riot started.
Are you going nuts there? To feed us with this waste?
Afghan and Iron quickly went to the kitchen. Billy had been waiting for them. He put an iron mop to the garbage chute, and the knives broke. One after another, they got inside of it and slid down. The escape was successful. The prison ship was drifting away further and further away when Billy realized something. So what do we do now? I didn't foresee this. Look, there in the distance. The escapees swam toward the passing ship. There! It turned out they were poachers. They treated the runaways with understanding.
Cows are here with us, not for us. They're not objects to be bought and sold. They are here for their own reasons, not to be our food or clothing. We have no right to breed or imprison them.
Just relax. We won't hand you over to the cops. I need to make a call. Afghan was given a satellite phone. He called someone, dictated the coordinates, and laid on a deck chair satisfied. He'll be picked up soon. Several hours later, a helicopter appeared. The escapees came aboard. Billy couldn't believe his own eyes. Bro, how glad I am to see you. What's going on in here?
Get on the ground, face down.
Finally, the stride on the prison canteen was stopped. Everyone was brought to the lineup. The head of security counted that 4 people appeared to be missing. A general alert was declared. The guards were searching through the entire area, but it didn't really lead anywhere, though they realized that knives in the kitchen's chute were broken. The prison governor was notified about the incident. He was enraged. A special group of Navy SEALs was assigned to find the escapees. The poacher's vessel was detected not far away from the ship.
Cows are here with us, not for us.
Without too much thinking, the SEALs commander ordered to take over the vessel. Highly skilled fighters quickly searched the ship and brought everyone whom they found to the deck.
We're looking for dangerous special criminals. For any provided information, you will be rewarded.
We saw these criminals. They were eaten by sharks, and they deserved it. Ha ha ha. The SEALs returned to their base, bringing bad news.
Mr. Fatbun, our prisoners were killed during the escape.
Meanwhile, in the helicopter, Billy demanded an explanation from Dilly and Afghan. You will tell me what's going on here.
It all started back in the army.
Once, when Dilly served under the contract in Afghanistan, their unit got surrounded in one of the ravines. This terrorist destroyed a column of tanks. Only Dilly and Ben were lucky enough to survive in this massacre. Wounded, they were taken captives. They were brought to the terrorist base and put in prison pit. They had no clue for how long they sat there with no food or water. Dilly was so hungry he wanted to eat a rat, but Ben stopped him.
I have a plan. Let's give it a chance.
Strange cries were coming from the bottom of the pit. The guardsmen slid their cover and saw that one of the captives was beating the other one. You! What are you doing? I want to speak with your boss. The cocky prisoner was escorted to the bunker. The main terrorist, Hussein, was there. I want to betray my country and become a gunman. Prove you're not lying to me. Kill the second man. The militants brought Dilly. Afghan was given a gun with just one bullet, and he was commanded to shoot. Afghan took aim, but suddenly he turned around and shot the grenade which hung on one of the militants' belt. Panic broke out in the camp. The guys picked the guns up and began to shoot back. The surviving terrorists hid in the bunker. It was impossible to get close to them. "Cover me!" Ben took the grenades, slowly crawled closer, and with a well-aimed toss, he threw one right to the bunker's window. The grenade landed on the ammunition box. The terrorists were destroyed. "Listen, friend, there are many weapons in here. Let's hide some for us. I think we really deserve it." The soldiers drew the truck loaded with weapons to the nearest cave, and only after that called the reinforcement. The general of the army personally arrived to pick them up. He rewarded them with medals for destroying the most dangerous terrorist in Roblox. The nuclear bombs were found on the base. The general ordered to demolish the base so that the weapons didn't get into the enemy's hands. The bomber dropped a napalm bomb and the terrorist base burned down to ashes. After the army, Afghan returned back for the weapon that they hid in the cave. He put a couple of rifles between the seats of his car, brought it through the border, and gave it to Dilly. Dilly found a way to sell the first batch of the dirty guns. It was the beginning of their criminal business. It all went well, so they established the black market where people could buy anything. All Roblox thieves traded off the stolen goods on that market. But once, while Afghan was driving with the new batch of weapons, he was stopped on the border for the detailed examination of the car. CIA monitored him for quite a long time and finally caught him red-handed. That was how Ben got his life sentence and was locked into the secret Roblox prison. Dilly didn't know how to free his friend. He didn't have professional in his gang who could deal with the task. But when he met Billy, he understood right away that this lad would accomplish any task. The plan was the following. Billy's face and his name were tattooed on one of the gangster's spine, and this gangster committed a crime and was locked in this secret prison. There, he showed Afghan his tattoo and told Dilly's plan about the professional who would arrive soon and organize the proper escape. It would be necessary to make a friendship with him. Meanwhile, Dilly sent Billy on the assigned task and established the surveillance after him. When Billy climbed on the shopping roof to kill Hatta, the policemen were already informed about the escape. The cops arrived just at the moment when Billy was leaving that construction site. And in the secret prison, Afghan made an agreement with the blondie that he would attack the newbie and Afghan would save him and become his best friend. Billy could not understand that. Dilly came up with a very cool plan. "I'm sorry, bro. I just didn't have a choice." Well, that was a fine prank. In a couple of hours, the helicopter landed by some house amidst the woods. "You will live here for some time. We'll find a disguise for you and the new documents." Some days have passed, but Dilly hadn't returned yet. He was very boring there.
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
As to the entertainment, they found only the TV and chess. Billy was losing all the time and was surprised by Iron's wit and guile. When the TV broke entirely, Billy suggested to throw knives. But even in this task, Iron was superior. "You're a skillful guy. What did you do before prison?" "I was a killer. I've got around 5,000 contra killings on my account." Iron was a professional killer in Roblox, and he really loved his job. He was always busy with clients, but once, during the meeting with the client in the cafe, he met a woman and fell in love. The job lost its priority, and then he even finished with criminal world because of her. In a year, they had a child. But he was very sick. It was a question of life and death. The doctor said that surgery would save the baby, but it was very expensive. Iron came out of retirement. New clients were coming pouring in, but a misfortune happened to him during one of the cases. Some granny saw him leaving the victim's apartment through the peephole, and she remembered his face. When the officers came, she helped them to make a composite sketch of the suspect. They quickly established his identity and tracked his location by his phone. Right at that moment, Iron was paying for his son's surgery, but the police had been waiting for him. A shotgun began. Iron wanted to finish off a wounded officer, but the guy started playing the pity angle. "Please don't. My wife and my beautiful son are waiting for me back home." Iron felt sorry for him because he was also a father. But the sly policeman ran up from behind and knocked Iron out. "That's how I ended up in this prison. If the surgery went well, that would mean my son is around 18 now. I'd like to see him at least once in my life." It was a very touching story. Billy offered him to find his family. Iron warmly thanked his friend. Together they went out of the forest and began to get through the city slowly and carefully. Billy was familiar with all the crossings, streets, and bushes. They had to hide in the trash can when a military patrol was driving by. Finally, they made it to the location. "We used to live in this house before. Are you certain about that?" Billy got nervous. He was left speechless when Iron rang the doorbell. It was his mother's apartment. She opened the door. Everyone kept silent for several seconds. It turned out that Iron was Billy's birth father. That was why he wanted to become a killer from the very childhood. When Iron was put in that prison, Billy's mother didn't want him to follow his father's steps, and therefore she decided to marry a simple, hardworking guy. Billy has always thought that this man was his father. His parents tried to develop his passion for ballroom dancing, drawing, or music, but nothing really worked, as his genes were stronger. "Why didn't you tell me anything? Please forgive me. I've always wanted what's best for you. Wanted to keep you safe." Billy felt angry and confused and decided to follow Iron back to the forest. Sometime later, Dilly came back. He brought the new documents and everything for making a disguise. "I have a new task for you. You have to eliminate one underworld leader. His name's Big Pancake. I really need this small suitcase." The CIA boat had been crossing the ocean for a couple of hours already, in search of the missing agent. "It's him! How happy I am that you're alive. Why weren't you with the fugitives?" Blondie told that he was thrown in a different location from the two, and then dragged under the prop. He hardly managed to grab the balancing wheel, and he sat there until the ship slowed down. I didn't succeed in gaining Afghan's trust. I failed the test. Moses confessed that he didn't manage to learn anything, so they headed to the CIA's headquarters, where the spy meeting had already started. Guys from the Afghan spying department presented the data. Afghan had crossed the border and now was located in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the surveillance stopped because of the sandstorm. Billy's surveillance department announced the task for the killers. They were searching for the bandit with the nickname Pancake, who had the remote control of the mafia's satellite. It's necessary to enhance the surveillance and move to the plan B. Billy was tracking the big Pancake for a couple of days already, but didn't succeed in learning his usual routes and habits. He didn't stay anywhere for long, didn't visit the same places twice, and didn't have a schedule. There was a riverfront in the city center, which Pancake crossed most often. It was the only chance, so killers decided to improvise. We must hurry! Seems to me he's set up his mind to leave the city. On the next day, when Pancake's car left the garage, Billy reported that through the walkie-talkie and rushed to his spot. Pancake drove through the riverfront just as they thought. There were signs, passage prohibited on the road. This exact moment, Billy pressed the gas pedal and rammed the gangster's car. Iron was waiting on the river's bank already. He jumped into the water after the car to get the suitcase, but the surprise awaited him. This moment, Hook was passing by. Saw a weird action on the river and stopped to shoot a video for TikTok. Pancake's family was in the car, and the girl is still alive. Oh my god! Bastards, this is our suitcase. Hook took out the gun and started shooting the killers. Iron caught a stray bullet. Billy didn't manage to drag him to the bank, so he had to let him go. While Hook kept shooting, Billy hid the girl behind the bulldozer and thought of how to escape. The police alarm resounded. A couple of police cars approached the accident site. An old woman was driving past the fence. Billy stopped her in order to leave the car, threw the girl and the case into the trunk, and tried to escape. Hook started to chase after him, but decided not to come close to the killer's car, so he kept himself in a distance during the entire ride. Billy didn't notice the surveillance and calmly turned in the direction of his house. He left the hijacked car in the forest and carried the girl into his arms for a couple of kilometers. Hook quietly followed him. When they reached the house, the bandit called the Don Carlos ex-guards. Billy tried to call Dilly, but he was unavailable. Billy was very nervous. He felt sorry for his dad and had no idea what to do with the child. He had to organize his thoughts, so he sat down to meditate. Someone in the yard stepped on the tight rope and the jar started rattling. Billy understood that the uninvited intruders arrived. Shh! Goons knocked down the door and ran inside, but the killer outwitted them. It was not in vain that he worked on his abs all the time. Who sent you here? Hook! It was him! The footsteps on the street resounded. Hook managed to escape. It wasn't safe to stay in this house anymore. So Billy gathered his belongings, wrote a note to Dilly, and together with Taya, they went to his old room by foot. It was late at night when they got to the place. The door was sealed. Billy cut the tape slightly, so it wasn't noticeable that someone got inside. And they settled down at the new location. Dilly came back to his killers, but found only 2 losers. And the note, I am in your gift. He understood the meaning and quickly made it to the Billy's room. Billy asked Ty to hide. When Dilly entered the room, he told him everything about what happened. You'll have an errand in another country soon, but meanwhile, hide the case and get rid of this witness, Hook. Right, I will make everything smoothly. Before leaving, Dilly paid attention to the plush toy and child's sandals, but he kept silent. When Dilly left, Billy decided to take rest from everything. He was tortured by guilt before Taya. He was the one who killed all of her family. They started to hang out. He liked spending time with her, and the girl liked to repeat after him. As a result, Billy got attached to her and started worrying about her further destiny.
Take me with you to the task. I want to take revenge on Hook.
She told how her father drank Goxy Cola together with Hook and bullied her and her mother. Threw empty bottles into them, made them eat the animals' food, and threw them away from the house, so they had to sleep on the porch. She really wanted to avenge. The story was quite convincing, and Billy agreed. Moreover, she knew where Hook lived, and this eased the task a lot. Taya covered the peephole with a gum and rang the doorbell.
Who is this?
Uncle Hook, it's me.
Hook believed the child, but the armed killer stood in front of him. Taya shot into him, and Hook got scared. He didn't understand that it was paint right away, but unfortunately, Billy had the real bullets. Dilly called in a couple of days. He said it was time to go to Afghanistan.
Everything's ready. Tomorrow Abdullah will pick you up. You must deliver the case to Afghanistan.
Billy brought Taya to his mom. The woman was astonished when he saw her son in front of her. Let the girl stay with you for a couple of days.
Yes, of course.
Together with Abdullah, they headed to Afghanistan border. They left the car there and rode the camels through the canyon, avoiding all of the security checkpoints. The border patrol stopped them on the way, but it turned out to be their guys. They received the robux and pretended they'd never seen the outlaws. In a couple of days, they reached the base. Afghan demanded the case. He knocked on it with some special sound code and looked inside of it.
What the heck? Where is the remote controller?
I know you are not heroes. You are terrorists. That day, when the gangsters attacked Billy and he was running through the forest, a strange man named Moses approached him. It turned out that he was from the CIA.
We're all in danger. You, your mother, and the girl. The entire Roblox is in danger.
It appeared that the tank colony was really attacked by the hitmen in Afghanistan. Dilly and Afghan were captured. They starved for a long time in a ditch and finally surrendered.
So what? Will you work for me?
Yes, we agreed to betray our motherland.
That was how Dilly and Afghan became terrorists. Hussein had the nuclear bombs, with the help of which he wanted to destroy the whole Roblox. But to control them, he had to gain the access to the satellite. Mafia's godfather, Don Carlos, had his own satellite. Hussein helped Dilly and Afghan to organize their gang in Roblox. He sponsored them with weapons and Robux, so that the gang could harm Roblox and gain control over the satellite.
You can start a new life if you help us.
What should I do? Billy was brought to the CIA headquarters, told everything about Hussein terrorist organization, provided all the instructions, and sent him on the task. Why are you doing this?
Get back the case, or she will die.
Hey Moses, they want the case. The CIA operation went successful, and the terrorists were defeated. Moses kept his word. He erased Billy's case from the database, and Billy could start it all over.